Dzień dobry Państwu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the meeting with Andrzej Stasiuk. You can say that I don't need to introduce Andrzej Stasiuk, but just to remind you of this unconventional lifetime, I would like to tell you about him. He's international acclaimed contemporary Polish writer. He's the winner of many Polish and international prizes. He was involved in pacifist movement. He left the army. He lives in Beskid Niski. Now the titles of his books are mentioned. No expresses to Kraków. Many books. Today we will be talking about the latest book by Andrzej Stasiuk, but before we start the interview, I would like to say that you also acted in a film. You also recorded a record. It was ranked as 12th in the category of folk music. Well, it's still success, and we even got a gold record, but it's folk music. But the way you play, well, Hajdamako is the manager. He's a Polish-Ukrainian, and he said that it would be a good idea to meet, so we did some Mickiewicz poems, Crimean songs. They sing for Alpukhara. Ukrainians have composed a rap song, so I was jumping on the stage. Girls were screaming, actually girls at my age, and you took part in Mickiewicz Festival. Where was it? In Kraków. And in Radom there was a Gombrowicz Festival, and we played during that festival. So this is a year of festival stage life for me. Wonderful. Andrzej Stasiuk is a personality of culture, not only due to his writing, but because he was also so a poem. A poem is about. Please stop. You don't want me to read this poem? But this poem takes us to a very important question about your book. Okay. Andrzej agreed. Stasiuk can see everything. The body of his life is the visual memory. He is breathing with cigarettes. He's writing with writing machine. Oh, his hand. He writes from hand, from him, from you. He's one of us. Maybe he's the best of us. His writing is authentic. It's called the nature. You recognize whether somebody is a writer or a serious killer, so you will never catch him on cheating. Well, so you can see these are distant times, the writing machine, the typewriter, it's a pocket of cigarettes. So, cheating. Your book, Przewóz. It's a book about construction and reconstruction of memory. You wrote that you cannot write about somebody's memory. You can just imagine someone's memory and write it from the beginning. Isn't it cheating? Well, writing is cheating. Making up stories and making people to believe in them, it's cheating. This is how books are written. When I was a child, I believed in old books. It's cheating, but wonderful cheating. And we agree to this cheating when we are reading or writing. I don't have to write, and I'm not a reporter. I am making stories up. Even if I write about something, I pretend I remember things. I really make things up. Why did you have to use the cheating? method? Well, it's a kind of a trick to make sure that it's not a historical writing. You have to cheat. This is a real cheat. So I was trying also to introduce some modern motifs, and now I am approaching the moment when the narrator's father is losing his memory, starts forgetting, so he becomes someone different than he used to be. And the son can cope with it because these are difficult stories, and he suspects that it will also affect him. So just in case, when he remembers, he tries to make up stories. This is how it is. But cheating, absolutely, it's cheating. An attempt to reconstruct memory is an exercise on missing. So tell me, what did you use to miss when you were writing the book? I don't miss. I don't miss. I agree to everything. Well, I just wanted to get back to the background, to my childhood, to the rural life, non-urban life. I wasn't born in the village. I spent a lot of time in the countryside. So essentially, I start going back to these words. So I thought, well, I still remember it, and on the other hand, this word is disappearing. So I wanted to reconstruct Poland 50 years ago. This Poland is disappearing. So I was looking at the sensual, animal-like aspect. So so it's like a war story, so there is violence, so on and so forth. But I wanted to make it readable. I didn't want to write a simple story that the past was wonderful, everything had nice smell, and now the smells disappeared. So I added some sex, some violence, some shooting, some history, because Poles love history. And it's like a Frankenstein, made up of different patches of memory, of Alzheimer, history, and my sorrows, and I do hope that nobody will notice the stitches, Frankenstein stitches, because I hope that they are well hidden. It's not a book which is a purely historical book. It is, of course, rooted in the past, but also in present. So you are writing about Poland, you are reconstructing, you are using this narrator being the father. So you are also writing about narrator's present observations. You said that Poles love history. Maybe it would be easier to write a simple historical novel in the 21st century. Well, historical novel and historical book story is different. Historical books will always be necessary, and fiction all the time has to be reinvented. If you are to write Sinua, Egyptian man, what was your question? Because I forgot. Okay, we will continue with other questions. Once you said that literature is a failure. Each book is a failure because it cannot describe the word and name the word we would like to name it. That's why you start another book and another book. And is this new book also a failure? Have you managed to describe what you wanted to describe? Yes, I still feel I have this feeling now, but then this feeling will pass. Well, actually, I have started new books. Well, it's good news. So you're writing a book to forget about it as soon as possible, to get rid of it. I never opened my book being sober to write a screenplay. So it's not like that you open your book, a screenplay, and you go, oh, yo. You don't want to do this. That's why you start writing new books, new novels, to start wondering what the end will be. And then You decide that it's nothing special, and you decide that you want to do something else before you die. So I have started many books. I'm considering writing some books. I have written the first sentences. So all the time you're running forward. You can't just stop by writing a book. We are cheating the audience here because I'm not really interested in it so much. Talking about your books doesn't interest you anymore. Well, this is a mechanism in my case. Well, yeah, it's great to meet you, but my head, my mind. I'm not against this meeting. I would like just to tell you about some mechanisms. I agree, I consent to this, you consent to this. That's how it works. The narrator says that the older I am, the more uncertain I am. So I'm looking for some signs of rescue at the very beginning. So when I'm listening to something like this, I am asking myself the question, what have you written, man? I think that there are some elements that ironically balance. Well, I'm really sincere, and I'm an open, sincere guy. So this is how I write. But when I reread my books, I said, oh my God, now I really have exaggerated. But I have this feeling that the real strong literature can be a scandalous, it can be a kitsch. So this line between the good book and the bad book is very it's not very solid. Okay, there will be space for the audience to ask questions, so you will receive a mic later on. But let's get back now to your book and to survival. So tell us about the survival. Okay, it's illusion of survival. Writing is an illusion of survival. You're trying to escape from demons. You run away, you escape from different things. It provides you with existential sense. That's why people do different things. Some people write books, others don't write books. They do something else to kill the time. The time we received. Everybody has their own writing. It's nostalgic, isn't it? Apart from Krzysiek Varga, I am the top melancholist. Didn't you know about it? But you really cope with history. You really. You are really you're also addressing history and myths. I think in an interview you were saying about the book that you are surprised that an eagle is the Polish national symbol because pig should be this symbol. You have to use the mic. Not that we are pigs, but pork is very important in Polish mythology. We were even making a revolution for the sausage, do you remember? But it's not me, it's the character of my book says that. We have two Jews in my wonderful Jewish people in my book. Did I depict them nicely in my book? Well, I just try to imagine. I don't remember the war. I know it from books, from post-war atmosphere. I am a son of war. My childhood was soaked with war-related atmosphere. So I am trying to imagine that it could have been different. And still, all these war books will not exhaust all possibilities of how people used to behave in those times. There were different human experiences at the time, so I'm trying to touch something that used to be mine, and I used to like the war. I used to like considering the war. Not that I wanted to be killed or I would like to kill someone. I'm a boy, and to boys, wars are very important. Even the social post-culture finds the war very important. I had war dreams. They were not really horrifying. Now I'm an old man, so I had to come to terms with it. I know that this book could be different, more patriotic, more mythological, but that's how I wrote it. I do apologize for this. There are different opinions on your book. Some people said that this is an anti-Polish book. I said it myself because I'm a provocative person. What does it mean that the book is anti-Polish? It doesn't mean anything. It's very Polish, just like any other of my books. They are saturated with Poland, but it's not the Poland everybody would like to have, except it's Poland that is mine. I never wanted to leave Poland. The fact is that I always talk about Poland with tenderness, especially when there are foreign listeners. To me, Poland is the best country in the world because it's so fucked up, wonderfully fucked up, that your imagination never sleeps. You never know when the big laugh will start. I mean it in the mythological sense. And I do appreciate Poland for this. I went to Switzerland once. Some Polish people from Kielce invited me to a meeting. There was dinner. We had lovely Swiss wine, and they started talking about their life in Switzerland. They were talking for an hour and a half, and then I fell asleep. I just fell asleep hearing about these wonders of living in Western civilization. And this is me. I cannot imagine that I am writing about a country different than Poland. I never thought that I would get offended with Poland. Poland gave me a lot. It also took a lot from me, but I'm not angry. Are you ashamed of your country? I will tell you why you asked me. Maciej Zaręba-Bielawski told me that to him patriotism is that we have to be also ashamed of my country. Well, I am ashamed because of some fools, but for the country, for the environment, I love nature. Half of the country is landscape. Am I going to be ashamed of Świętokrzyskie mountains? I'm ashamed because of morons, idiots. For each nation is small now. We have these teachers, but let's not talk about politicians. But I can be ashamed of hooligans, but really they are not my friends. So why should I be ashamed because of them? So let's get back to your book. You are describing the year 1941, so refugees of the West and East are looking for a better life. They are looking for a rescue, and probably there is no rescue. The wartime in your novel is fear and stink. If you have two powers around you, which are of the size of tectonic layers, you feel fear, but also you are interested in the unknown. But probably fear is the top feeling.
That was the greatest event of the 20th century. Unfortunately, they clashed here. Our geographical location has not changed. Okay, you're again heading towards politics. We are in between two giants, and you say that we can be swept away by the fire from the west, from the east, thunder, or God knows what. One giant is a bit weaker, another one has been tamed, so it's a bit easier. But my disastrous mind always suggests the worst-case scenarios. We should bear it in mind simply. Our position will not change. I would like us to be a big island floating over the Pacific Ocean. Then it would be great. No Russians, no Germans, no Jews. Only a lot of crude oil, precious stones, precious noble elements, and drifting and talking about mythology. So that's your dream of the better future. I like it here, as I said, and I do hope I'm going to like it till the end of my life, that this country will do nothing to me so that I could say, you country, you're bad. I have plenty of love inside me and my life is getting shorter. You constructed excellent characters in your novel. They lead us through their lives. But first, we notice strong, decisive women. I didn't know I was writing a feminist story, a feminist novel. There is a symbolic moment. Maryśka, in a dark stable, lights up an oil lamp, and she enlightens the darkness of the Polish stable. Yeah, it's natural. These were a second of enlightenment. I didn't even realize she will become such a strong character. I invented a few male characters, and afterwards I saw what they were doing. I was waiting for the enlightenment. I was not really aware of it because the language takes you through it. It's nothing you owe to yourself. I am old. I know what the duck, how the duck drinks water. So it's true. We live in the times of women. Women will survive the world, and they will ban the stupidity and foolish things to males. There are too many males in the world, so they have to kill one another. This is a civilization change which could happen, like mythical survival of the world. So women will survive the world? Yes, I mentioned in my essays. Taxims also gives hope. It's hope provided by pregnant women. This is the only novel of mine. There is a pregnant woman who is slightly disabled. I have had such intuitions for a long time, but I was not really aware of it. Once I've tried, then I keep going. And you don't feel worse about it? No, I feel better. Where does the courage come from to write a feminist novel? Oh, come on, it's simply happening. Perhaps my readers capture the reality, and perhaps it's the first mature book of mine, not only about males who drink beer and fight. Yeah, it's like a drunk Polish dance macabre. Everybody is drunk. Lubko is the strongest one. He maintains distance. Yeah, because he does it for his own interest. That's the war. Everybody is drinking. But it's not a guerrilla novel. It's only after 1941, so it can be the beginning of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So, well, but that's a different story. It happened like that. Girls say that Mariska is nice, Doris is nice, but they do have their initiative. She forces him to some erotic fantasies because they realize something that the time is running. Sensual descriptions of sex, when you read them, you feel you are there. You can smell the odor. Oh, come on. It's not that they don't wash themselves. It's a novel. There must be violence, sex, and some animal emotions. But that's the way it is. This is war. This is the countryside. The countryside is filled with odors and with animal instincts. I remember the smell of the countryside. It was difficult to differentiate between human and animal odors. Proust has his Madeleine, and I have my Polish countryside. I'm highly sensitive to odors. You devoted Dukla to the sense of vision. What is left? The sense of hearing. So the next one will be about music. So you'll be listening, and you will simply have to guess where the bell tolls. I am not an intellectual. I don't understand a single thing of this world. It's about multiplication of general sensations. Perhaps I'm wrong. 18 minutes, 33 seconds. Ah, we can see the time. Since you combine the past with the present, what was your first inspiration? What did the present inspire you to delve into the past? Well, the past has become interesting, appealing, annoying, moving. It's nice because it's a little bit about the past, about the future. It's like a vicious circle. In order to cope with the future, we try to reconcile with the past. What's wrong here? It's like finding it's like seeing water dripping from the ceiling. I felt that something should be done with the present, with the past. But success has many fathers. Love and justice, childhood, feminism, you never know. You say that perhaps you became more humble, more serene, that you managed to break with the vision of the biggest macho of the Polish literature. Tell it to the girls, to my girls at home. I have a more generic question about Polish men. You say that women will save the world. This is only intuition. When you look at Polish males, you also say that when you travel through contemporary countryside, you can see the rednecks with tattoos who dream about great Poland. What is it all about Polish men? Yeah, this is a species that is losing its self-confidence. When you start using aggressive language or artificially created language. It's like mythology of history. It means that the world is escaping your grasp. You are not able to cope with failure, just like in the general, that you will disappear as human species. There's some point in it. When I look at the villages near my home, these are the women who take over, and men only drink. There is no war for men to go and get killed. So men lose self-confidence. There are no engineering solutions because there is artificial intelligence, and they lose the self-confidence. It's a contemporary story about uncertainty. Starting from the great Catholic Church, it's just big fear. It's trepidation without intelligence. I wouldn't like man to disappear completely. I am a fan of real male values, masculine values, but sensible ones. What are the real masculine values? To know how to fail. Do you know? Can you accept failure? I hope so. I think masculinity is about combining some feminine elements like sensitivity. I know it sounds like utopia, but also traditional values. I don't know. That you have to chop wood? No, there are machines to do it. So what is there left for a man? I can't give you an answer. I'm neither a priest nor teacher or politician. They don't have the answers either, but they do pretend to have. That's the difference. I don't pretend to know it all. That's the lack of cheating in your writing. I don't know is the statement that is hardly used in contemporary world. Rarely do the authorities say, I don't know. The world doesn't know where it's heading, and no methods can reverse it. Does literature help us? Well, the literature, it does. When we read books, we don't do bad things then. Well, at least so. In kids, it develops imaginations. They can learn that the world has different shades. That's what literature is for raising doubts and for spending time. This is the minimum plan, and that's enough. So Andrzej Stasiuk, like that, is shaped from literature. You can walk from the library and hit the lamppost while reading. Well, it happened, at least somehow. I also like doing other things. I cut wood. No, I don't have a machine for it. I drive a car, and it's so masculine. In my case, it is. Olga Brzezińska drives better than Mikołaj. It's just a secret. We're here. He's from Gdańsk. He left to Krakow today in the morning. No, I'm just laughing at these values, but it's nice to discover feminine sensitivity in yourself. We're androgenic to a certain extent. It's great about discovering the feminine element in yourself. We published a book about Polish sex, and there were stories of a girl who provides sadomaso services. Very often, tattooed rednecks come to her to be beaten by her football fans. It happens very often. They like being treating this way. So they only show their muscles in daylight. If you do have the daylight in your head and don't live in darkness. Okay, let's quit it. That's what we need women for, just like Mariszka in your novel, to light the lamp. We have 8 minutes left. 8 minutes left for questions from the audience. If there are any questions to Andrzej Stasiuk, please raise your hand. Nobody willing to speak. 8 minutes is like running a sprint. 3 questions. Do you still travel to the south of Europe, to the Balkans? No, Balkans. The Balkans have been betrayed. I go to the east, and I don't drive anywhere now. But the direction of my love has changed. This is Siberia, Central Asia, and Mongolia. Do you drive a car there? How can I drive? How can I go there? By plane? Carbon footprint. It's a great pleasure. You just switch the ignition key, and in 7 days' time, you reach the Mongolian border. Perfect feeling. But if you drive continuously and only stop to sleep, I wrote a book about it. Taking the whole cheating, which you mentioned, there is a description in Taksim as in Tygodnik Powszechny you often write about your sheep. There is a wild boar, a pig. No, it's a pig. Did you use it to make the whole story more colorful? The whole story is invented. I could invent everything. I was simply interested whether you invented it. Should we believe it? Or can you tell it's true? It depends on what kind of pleasure you expect from reading, critical or direct. This is a Hungarian-Serbian pig, which is a wild pig. Did it really attack the human? I invented it. Thank you. Yeah, but it could have done it. That's the kind of species. And I'm sure it must have happened, but not in this book. One of the characters in your book is the region of Podlasie. Is it a metaphor of the history of Poland? This is a real metaphor because I grew up there, so the metaphor was at hand. Fulfilled metaphors are the best. They are real and actual. There was the river, which separated 2 totalitarian regimes for a while, and then it disappeared as a border. Just a mini-cute. A metaphor, the truth. some stories which I heard, which I experienced, and some true stories as well. That's the great area where war is happening all around. There is a board which is placed in the church then throughout, and that's the way it is. There's a beautiful cemetery, beautiful landscape. My grandparents have their graves there, and there's a grave of a teacher who was killed there in 1946 and established the school there. Right behind it, there are the graves of those who murdered him. And it's still like that. But on the other hand, my wife, who is an ethnographer, she always tells that this is a really special region. Marcin Brawicki, before I ask a question, I would like to quote your essay from 2013. The last years of smoking were like drinking when you experience a hangover. The brain in the morning when I felt soot in my throat. I was dreaming of getting rid of it. I wanted to ask you about the electronic cigarette. I remember your writing about smoking. And this is the e-cigarette. You talked about smoking in 2021. You have the e-cigarette. 10 years passed and you become more mature. It's like with my novel. This is the sign of the times. Przemysław Wnuk, I would like to refer to the motive of Polish males. It is a gallery of disgusting characters. So my question is, to what extent are these characters, do these characters have their archetypes, or to what extent is it a Frankenstein composed of different invented parts? I wouldn't say they are disgusting. I wanted to turn Shiva into a real rogue, but I couldn't make it. I simply liked him. When you go to war, you should be like that. You should be a warrior. But since you read the book, you have to remember a certain flow of humanity, and you don't know whether it was a moral instinct or the influence of war. They are disgusting, but also joyful. They are fun, unless they behave in a ridiculous way. No, I wouldn't say they're disgusting. What about Młody with the excellent story about his love, about hiding in the countryside? An innocent creature. Not everybody is disgusting. The proportions are mixed to make it powerful and not only disgusting. I'm going to defend them. I have two questions. First, I would like to ask what moves you? And off top, would you like to go to Szósta Dzielnica for a drink? What moves me? Some symptoms of being good people that some people forget but are quite natural. I can't give you an example. To drink with you, No. I wake up at 4. Thank you. I'm a drunkard, but I can't afford it. I never drink, only a glass of wine. That's the end of our meeting with Andrzej Stasiuk. Let's thank him with a round of applause. Let's thank him for his book, and let's applaud him, hoping for subsequent novels. Thank you.
It's not always easy to recognize. It may look like this, or like this. It may be a burden, but it is a responsibility that we embrace nonetheless. But if it means this for one person, and this for someone else, maybe it ultimately means being there for one another. It isn't handed to us, but we know where to find it. And how it feels, how it tastes, and what it sounds like when we finally have it. It means different things to different people, but for many, it means everything. And if we all fight for it, it will eventually bring us together.
Now forming flight 1215.
You may now kiss the bride.
Work is different now. We're commuting less, virtually meeting more. Separating work life and life can feel challenging. It's easy to forget that to thrive at work, we need to take care of ourselves. Microsoft Viva Insights offers new experiences to balance productivity and well-being. Personal insights help you stay at your best and most productive. Add structure to your remote workday by opting for a virtual commute, carving out time to have a productive start in the morning and mindfully disconnect in the evening. Protect time before your calendar fills up for focused work, coaching, and learning. Take regular mental breaks with Headspace, tapping into dedicated moments of mindfulness. Use emotional check-ins to tune into your day-to-day mindset and well-being. Strengthen team bonds with Stay Connected experiences that prompt you to praise collaborators, schedule one-on-ones, and follow up on pending commitments and outstanding tasks. Insights for managers and leaders offer windows into how work happens and the impact on employee well-being. Identify where teams may be isolated and take action to break down silos. Quickly discover opportunities to prevent burnout, promote coaching and development, and boost engagement. You and your team's well-being is important, especially in times of change. Taking care of one another allows you to thrive and your organization to build resilience. Experience how new well-being insights in Viva can help.
Liberté Talks. To, co ważne. Seria Liberté Talks realizowana jest dzięki wsparciu Google oraz Państwa darowizną. Na podcast Rozmowy Nienormatywne zaprasza Joanna Łopat.